Thank you, Helen, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to hear that the BRC is leading the industry and outlining a vision of a more sustainable and productive future. And it's also good to know that the BRC is listening closely to its members to come up with solutions to the challenges our industry faces. And there are certainly big challenges ahead. The retail industry, you don't need me to tell you, is already in the middle of profound transformational change. At the same time, we're now facing a slightly weaker economic backdrop. Slower wage growth this year will keep a check on consumer spending. Price deflation continues, and though this is easing, we now have a weaker pound, and fierce competition will see deep discounting and promotions remain a priority for many here. Employment in the industry has also started to see a decline, a direct response to highly competitive environments and ongoing pressure on margins. Add to the mix costs beyond our control, the national living wage, the apprenticeship levy, and the upward march of business rates, to name but three, and it seems as if the pressures we're all facing keep getting bigger and the questions we have to answer keep getting more difficult. For some, including clearly the person who wrote the first draft of this speech, that might seem a gloomy prospectus. But for me and many others, it speaks to the very reason that the BRC exists. It's the BRC's mission to make a positive difference to the retail industry and the customers we all serve. And it's an easy mission when the going is good. But it's an essential mission when the going gets tough or in times of great change. Through its focus on the core issues that matter to our industry, the BRC achieved some significant results for UK retailing this year, and we can expect similar successes in the year to come. Take the BRC's work on Brexit, for example. During what became an increasingly acrimonious and misleading debate, the BRC remained an honest broker, offering equal challenge to both sides, informing campaigners, retailers, and their customers, and focusing the debate on what mattered most to our industry. And whether you were a Brexiteer or a Remainer, the retail industry now has to speak up to maximize the opportunities the new world presents. This will be a key focus for the BRC in the months ahead. We will actively lobby government to lower the cost of international trade, to guarantee the right to work and live for our many colleagues who are citizens from the EU, and crucially, to allow retailers the space and time to make the changes to their business that the adjustment to a post-Brexit world will demand. Now, at the same time as participating in the referendum debate, the BRC has also focused the attention of government and policymakers on the cumulative impact of business taxation and various new policies and proposals. The most significant, of course, being business rates. While we may not yet have been given everything we've asked for, we've certainly achieved more than many of us expected. By setting the bar high and steering the conversation on rates, the BRC has secured changes to the system worth £1.8 billion for the retail industry over the next 5 years. A valuable win for all of us, I am sure you will agree. But we mustn't forget we have to keep pushing on this to ensure that the government knows the burden of business taxation is weighing heavily on the retail industry right now. And the BRC will be working hard over the next year to ensure this burden is kept in check. And finally, you've just heard from Helen about the BRC's vital work combating the shadow that's been cast by some over retailing jobs. Helen and her team pulled together retailers to look at the issues around people in our industry. the BRC also reached out to some of those making criticisms of our industry to see if they could help us find the answers. And the result of this work is the BRC's Retail 2020 project. To echo Helen's earlier plea, I encourage those businesses not yet involved in this work to get involved. Charting a path that enables the industry to create better, more sustainable jobs will be at the heart of the BRC's work over the coming year, and we should all seek to be part of it. After all, that's why many of us are members of the BRC in the first place. Because when this industry is tested, it's by working together, by collaborating, and by solving problems as an industry that we become more than the sum of our parts. So add all of that up, and it's a very exciting time to take the chair of the BRC. And I'm all too aware that I follow an extraordinarily capable colleague, Sir Charlie Mayfield. As you know, Charlie has combined chairing the BRC and championing its work on pay progression and productivity with leading that great British success story, the John Lewis Partnership. I know that he's given great counsel to Helen and has made himself available regularly to meet with ministers and speak at events in order to champion our industry. Both the BRC and the industry owe him a huge debt of thanks for the time, energy, and effort that he has shown while at the helm of the BRC. Please join me, ladies and gentlemen, in a round of applause for Charlie. I'd also like to thank PayPal for supporting the BRC and helping to make tonight extra special. Thanks too to the BRC's own events team, who've organised once again a wonderful evening for us to celebrate British retail. And we'll be helped along in our celebrations a little later by our after-dinner entertainer, Sean Collins. I'd also like to thank Sean for agreeing to draw our charity raffle this evening, the proceeds from which will go to support our charities, which this evening are the Retail Trust and Pennies, both of whom do extraordinary work. Finally, I've increasingly observed that there are three types of people in this world. People who make things happen, people who watch things happen, and people who say, "What on earth happened?" or words to that effect. Fortunately, the retail industry is full of the former, which is why I'm so confident that our industry will continue to prosper for many decades to come. Thank you all for your continued support of the BRC, and I do hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much.